Hello, I'm Antonio Neves, and this is an Advertising Age special report. In the ad industry, it's tough to find someone who cares more about diversity than Julius Dunn. Co-founder and director of Advertisty, his organization educates minority students about career opportunities in advertising. Back in 2008, the One Club signed Advertisty to a 2-year partnership. Dunn and his group quickly became well known and liked throughout Manhattan's ad community. In fact, this year, JWT hosted Advertisty's anniversary party. A video made to promote that event shows Advertisty members at the One Club's Hall of Fame wall. Each person holds a frame. This signifies the group's long-term goal of adding accomplished people of color to such industry monuments. But just 2 weeks after that party, the One Club abruptly announced it was ending its relationship with Advertisty. An official statement cited budget pressures. Now, during its first year, Advertisty worked hard to design pilot programs aimed at minority students in high schools. This was very different from most of the industry's other diversity programs. They largely focused on college students who were available for relatively quick hiring. So our first question to the 27-year-old Mr. Dunn was, why such emphasis on high school students?
It's more difficult to go after high school students, especially those who don't know about the industry. And like I said before, that's something that you have not seen nationally. You've seen it at the local level with programs like Torch or Push 15 that's in Atlanta. You know, you can reach out to local high schools because it's easier to do that at that level. But once you think about taking that same concept and making it national and then connecting the dots between all of these, it gets a little bit tricky. The payoff, if you can actually reach a high school student before they pursue post-secondary education, I feel is much more beneficial to the advertising industry. If you can reach that kid at 10th grade or 11th grade, turn them on to the idea that there are schools like Creative Circus, VCU, Miami Ad School, you know, Parsons, Pratt, FIT, that have these programs that can help take their innate abilities and turn them into a career, then that kid has access to what their possibilities are earlier on. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of late in the game to reach a kid who's already spending money at a college to go and spend more money to pursue a career when you can just do that at the high school level. So I think it's more beneficial.
Before we get directly into adversity, it sounds like for you as a young child and even as a college student that the advertising industry didn't seem necessarily accessible. You
have guidance counselors in high school, and none of the guidance counselors I talked to knew anything about advertising. Like for the most part, they would, you know, take the studio art background that they knew I had, especially when being in AP classes for studio art. They were just kind of like, oh, you should be like a comic book strip artist or like, you know, some random artist somewhere, you know, and you know, parents will tell you all the time, you know, you're not going to be a starving artist in my house. So, you know, I definitely had that echoing in the back of my head. So trying to take, you know, the studio art background and match that with a career was kind of difficult. So no, I didn't have access to any of this information, and that's partly the reason why it was started.
So under that backdrop, tell me about the origins of Advertisty and what your initial goals were for the program.
Initial goals, honestly, were to try and create a national awareness about advertising with particular interest in or focus in creative. Creative is, as you know, is the least diverse department of all in the advertising industry. And then considering the fact that my background was creative and that's what I aspired to be, that's what I wanted to focus on. I felt like the need was definitely there, or it's still there, honestly. And a lot of people are trying to find ways to connect with the multicultural community. And I feel like that's the easiest way to get kids turned on to it, is a creative aspect. Like, everybody sees commercials, everybody sees print ads, you know, regardless if it's account or if it's planning or production. You know, creative is going to be that gateway to anybody to kind of get their interest.
You mentioned initially that One Club and Advertisty, there was not a lot of money behind that, and recently One Club announced that they were ending the program. Is this something that caught you off guard?
I will say that it was a little bit unexpected. Some people saw it coming. Just looking at the anniversary party, you know, there was, you know, a lot of execs speaking on our behalf, very few from the One Club that were there. So, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, well, you know, the signs were all there. But, you know, from my standpoint, you know, I didn't expect it.
At the end of the day, a program like that was trying to reach that kid who you were growing up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. That kid who wanted to be an art director, and I'm assuming still has aspirations to do so. What does that mean for those kids across the country that were just like you?
we built pilot programs and we have relationships with national organizations like the National Urban League, with corporations like Best Buy that, definitely are trying to move the ball forward in the diversity community and as education or even just awareness period for high school kids to have a better understanding of what it is that they can pursue at the post-secondary education level and then well into their careers. So, that program's still going to exist. That kid that's me now, that I was back in the day, is still going to have access to those programs. I can't say that it'll happen overnight. I can't say that the industry will change, but hopefully, if I can speak to 1,000 and reach 2, that's 2 more that the industry has just kind of gotten on their side. So.
And we did speak with the One Club, and they had some positive things to say about you and the potential to work with Advertisty in the future. Is that something you would be open for?
Yeah, I would be, and that's something that I extended, to actually offered to Mary and Kevin when we had the conversation. Kevin is the president of the One Club. Mary Warlick is the CEO. I have the community, which I'm very grateful for, to still be on my side. That was actually one of the things that I think I feared when the relationship ended, was that, how many people were actually just kind of jumping on board because it was attached to an organization that they felt could progress their career, or how many people were actually down for the mission. And I got a rude awakening once, the partnership ended, because in less than like 2 or 3 hours, the news had spread. And I'd heard from so many different people that we had partnered with that I was shocked, honestly, that I had touched that many people in such a short period of time. So, I do think the mission is going to go forward. And I think that if we partner with people, like I said, like Lincoln Stevens, who actually has a very localized program down in Texas, but still potential there is, we can still impact that market and still kind of take some of his ideas and make them national. Or partner with programs like Torch in the New York area, which takes high school kids in the local area, and they take them into agencies like JWT, McCann, Saatchi, Deutsch, and turn them on to creative careers in advertising. I still think there's opportunity to do it. I'm not a Debbie Downer. I'm not upset. I'm not thinking that this is the end of the world. I just think that, with every window that closes, another door opens, and I think this is that door. So,
if I recall correctly, the theme of the One Show Awards was a secret society. Is there any irony in that at all?
The secret society thing, it is a little bit ironic, because it is a lot like a secret society in the sense that, this business already is a lot about who you know and who you don't know, for that matter. And if you don't know anyone, then it's going to be kind of hard for you to get in. This is one of the only careers I know that's like that, honestly. It's a little bit hard to get in because, like you said, there's information about how to get into this industry that's not as accessible as others. Like, everybody knows about doctor, lawyer, pediatrician, teacher, but no one really knows about advertising, the departments of it. How do you get in? How do you break into? It's like a code, secret society. So, last year that was the theme for that. But once again, I think it's funny because, the organizations like the One Club, or I won't name any others, they kind of celebrate, this industry in the sense that, it's every year there's this joyous occasion where they recognize people for the great accomplishments that they've achieved. But, on the back end of that, there's a whole movement and fight to try and diversify the very industry that people are celebrating. So, that to me is ironic in and of itself. So I don't know if that answered your question, but, it's very much so a secret society, and a lot of people feel that way.
And that's it for this special report. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm Antonio Neves at Advertising Agent New York.